This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caribou Avenue. I am Jenna Bosonko. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. In the criminal trial at the High Court on the alleged coup plot against the government, all the accused persons have pleaded not guilty to the charges filed against them by the state. Cadet Assistant Superintendent of the Gambia Police Force, Mohamed Y. Dabo, has confirmed to QTV the circumstances surrounding the arrested alleged thief who claimed to be a police officer. The Gambia, under the auspices of the Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of the Gambia, is hosting the 2023 statutory meetings of the West African Monetary Agency. In international news, the former Electoral Commission boss of Kenya has threatened to take legal action against the opposition leader Raila Odinga after he alleged that the poll team visited his home during the last elections. In sports news, the National Interdepartmental Sports Association, in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, has launched the local organizing committee ahead of the organization of Walker Sports for Africa Championship to be held in the Gambia. Well, those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now, in the criminal trial at the High Court on the alleged coup plot against the government, all the accused persons have pleaded not guilty to the charges filed against them by the state. They are charged with treason, concealment of treason, conspiracy, and inciting mutiny. Momodu Lamin Choi has more.
5 military personnel and a police officer appear before the High Court to answer criminal charges filed by the state. They are alleged to have been involved in a coup plot in November last year. The accused are Sana Fadera, Jibril Dabo, Ibrahim Asano, Omar Njai, and Fabakary Jawara, respectively. The accused took their place in a packed courtroom. Justice Basiru P.V. Mahoney reads out the charges for each of the accused. First to take a plea is Sana Fadera, the alleged ringleader of the coup plot, charged with 3 criminal offenses relating to treason and inciting mutiny. He pleads not guilty to all the charges. Following Fadera is Jibril Dabo, the second accused, charged with 4 criminal offenses relating to treason and concealment of treason. He also pleads not guilty. Next is Ibrahim Asano, who faces criminal charges of treason and concealment of treason, to which he also pleads not guilty. The fourth accused, Omar Njai, charged with criminal offense of concealment of treason, also pleads not guilty. And finally, Fabakary Jawara, the police officer, who, following his fellow accused, also pleads not guilty. In response to the not guilty pleas, the State Counsel, A.M. Yusuf, asked the court to set a clear date for the hearing to begin. In his response to this request, defense lawyer L.S. Kamara informs the court that the bill of indictment which the state had filed and served them with does not include witness statements and material pieces of evidence. He argues that this needs to be done before the trial can proceed further. The State Counsel, Yusuf, replies that serving the defense counsels with witness statements and evidence is not a precondition for the hearing to commence. However, the state prosecutor acknowledges that the defense has the constitutional right to ask for anything from the state prosecution which the state is ready to provide. He submits that the defense will be served with the witness statements and evidence by Monday. The counsel for the fourth accused, Omar Njai, draws the attention of the judge to the fact that his client is being detained at the barracks instead of at the prison where the other accused persons are detained. He submits a request to the court to issue an order for the state to transfer Omar Njai to the prison. The trial judge makes an order in his favor. The trial on this criminal case is adjourned to 16th February, and subsequent hearings will take place on 21st, 23rd, and 28th of February and 2nd of March. Momodu Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Still on security-related matters, Cadet Assistant Superintendent of the Gambia Police Force, Mohamed Y. Dabo, has informed QTV that the arrested alleged thief, Momo Dumbo, is indeed one of them, but not only as a trainee, Lolly M. Camara engaged him, and this is her report.
Momo Dumbo was on Monday confronted by the youths of Nyofele village for his alleged involvement in theft. This was captured on video, which has been widely circulating on social media, and in which Mr. Dumbo claims that he is a member of the Gambia Police Force. Mohamed Y. Dabo, Cadet Assistant Superintendent of the Gambia Police Force, explains what they have found out.
Alleged theft case is an unfortunate circumstance, unfortunate incident involving a particular young man who is part of the Gambia Police Force. He was posted at Gambia Police Force garage. A couple of months ago, he was on trials with us to become a police driver with some other people. They have been issued the OGG license. The OGG will mean on the service of Gambia government, a license that is only issued to people who are public servant and driving government vehicles.
Mr. Dabo further explains how the police is dealing with the case.
Stealing is criminal, and we are treating it criminal. And if he is found guilty of the crime, he is going to be dealt with accordingly. But what we are trying to profess or to show to the Gambian people is that we are so serious about our internal reforms. We are serious about transparency. We are serious about accountability. And we are serious about upholding ethical values at all times. Part of our new police doctrine is one that advocates for professionalism, is one that places a great premium on ethical values and standards.
Assistant Superintendent Dabo reassures the public that they are doing everything possible to maintain public trust and confidence.
The public can be assured that we are a public institution that have put internal reforms in place, and the heart of those reforms is one that advocates for accountability processes for us to go, that we have recognized and accepted that we are servant of the public. It is the interest of the public that we are serving, and it is the lives and properties of the people that we are serving.
He advises civilians and police officers to desist from acts that can put them in trouble.
We expect them to demonstrate with honesty, with so much ethical values, with professionalism, that they must treat citizens according to the law, that they must approach cases and crimes with sober mind, and they must do this on values that are advocated at the level when they were doing their trainings, and our code of conduct must always be respected. Impersonation is a crime. It's a serious crime. People who put on our uniforms or act as if they're police officers and go to places to act in our capacity when they are not mandated and recognized by laws of this country and do not go through any regimentation training processes, woe to you. We will not condone those things. And when and anybody that is caught in doing so, you will be punished accordingly.
Mr. Dabo reminded citizens to be law-abiding and report suspected cases to the police at all times. For QTV News, Lolly M. Camara.
Now we will follow up on that case and inform you accordingly. Aside from that, the Gambia, under the auspices of the Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of the Gambia, is hosting the 2023 statutory meetings of the West African Monetary Agency, scheduled for the 2nd to the 10th February. The meetings opened on Thursday with meetings of the Economic and Monetary Affairs Committee and the Operations and Administrative Committee of the agency. Alusise tells us more.
The statutory meetings are biannual events convened by West Africa monetary institutions and hosted by member states on a rotational basis. At this forum, delegates representing central banks, finance ministries, and ECOWAS monetary institutions will review the macroeconomic developments and convergence reports on member states to assess the progress made towards compliance with the criteria necessary for the macroeconomic convergence within the sub-region. Mamadou Bamba Saho, Director General of the West African Monetary Agency, WAMA, said the most recent assessment of member states' economies indicates that none of the members met all 4 of the primary convergence criteria as at end of June 2022. He adds that these developments pose challenges for policymakers in the sub-region.
Some of our currencies have depreciated significantly. Government finances are under pressure. Debt is rising, and inflation has remained stubbornly high, putting more and more of our people into poverty.
DG Sao, a former governor of the Central Bank of the Gambia, calls for strong policy actions from member states as he renewed WAMA's commitment towards meeting its mandate.
The member states will have to negotiate the extent of the delegation of monetary policy making sovereignty to a supranational common central bank, the Central Bank of West Africa.
Dr. Hassan Mahmoud, Director of Monetary Policy, Central Bank of Nigeria, who is the outgoing chairman of the Technical Committee of West African Monetary Agency, WAMA, expects fruitful outcomes from the meeting, which will be followed by concrete implementation of decisions. And Dr. Peter Kofi Dassi, Acting Director of Macroeconomic Stability and Multilateral Surveillance, representing the Commissioner for Economic Affairs and Agriculture of the ECOWAS Commission, also expressed similar views.
It is no news that the world currently faces yet another global economic challenges emanating from the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war and the economic slowdown in China.
The ECOWAS Commission will continue, in collaboration with the various stakeholders, to play its role in strengthening the regional integration process and improving the living conditions of our people.
Ibrahima N. Wada, Director of Research, Central Bank of the Gambia, representing Central Bank Governor Bouha Seydi, said the meeting is taking place at a time global uncertainties continue to impact economies in the sub-region.
Inflation is expected to remain elevated at 18.5% in 2022 and remain largely unchanged at this level in 2023. Fiscal performance in 2022 worsened as budget deficit rose to over 5.0% of GDP, reflecting the combined effects of revenue underperformance and increased expenditure.
During the week-long meetings, delegates will receive and deliberate over reports by the Director General and the various subcommittees covering such areas as the ECOWAS macroeconomic convergence, the distribution of the capital and reserve pooling of the Central Bank of West Africa, and the WAMA budget for 2023. The meetings are scheduled as follows: meeting of the Technical Committee between 6th and 7th February, the Committee of Governors on 9th February, and the Convergence Council on 10th February. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Now we're wishing them successful deliberations. From that story by Aliou Cissé, we will now go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have some more local news stories for you, as well as international, as well as sports. Do stay tuned.
Finger again. Amna lu manqué de.
Lu manqué?
Armanti mayonnaise. So amul duma lek.
Maa ngi ñëw man maa jéegi Armanti.
Ah.
Noo ko gisee?
Saf na neex na ndax moom ci Armanti mayonnaise ak sauce boo ko ciy def rek dafay neex.
Nii la.
Armanti mayonnaise. Ren la am 28 years.
Waaw.
Ta cafka mosul ci tegoon tànkam fa la ko teg ba tey.
Man maak Armanti dama ko miin. Yàlla dafa dogal Armanti dafa doon sama xarit.
Yéen jéegi réew mi nee naa leen ñaar fukki at ak juróom-ñett du fukki at ak juróom-ñett déedéet du ay fodde maa la ñu wax lii dugg leen ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique ci biir réew mi am na 500 millilitres 1000 millilitres ak 5 kilos li ci gën a tee dàq mooy def leen indil 25 grammes mooy caatu mayonnaise bi am na margarine bota am na bota ice am corned beef bu yàpp ak bu ginaar am na sardine ak banana milk Armanti daal dafa complété lépp ngir noppal jéeg yi seen biir waay.
Armanti product the good one.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Basonko. Now, the Curriculum Research, Evaluation and Development Directorate of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education on Wednesday organized a day's forum to update stakeholders on the new curriculum developed by the Directorate. Alusise has more.
With the support and guidance of international partners such as UNESCO and the World Bank, the Curriculum Research, Evaluation and Development Directorate of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education started in 2017 to review the existing basic and secondary education curriculum. This was done with the view to refocus the education system from merely passing examinations to building character, nurturing values, and raising literate, confident, and engaged citizens who can think critically. Key competencies indispensable to the creation of high-level and well-sustained socio-economic development. Speaking at a meeting with members of the media, Mamadou Jang, Director of the Curriculum Research, Evaluation and Development Directorate, said all stakeholders were involved in the process. He said the proposed curriculum will provide students with a range of identifiable post-school pathways to work, further study, or both.
That our exit profiles from the school system, maybe they have impressive results, but give them a task they cannot perform. That means they have not developed the necessary competencies as part of the learning process.
Previous curriculum reviews in 2003 and 2008 and the Education Sector Strategic Plan 2016-2030 have revealed a number of weaknesses requiring urgent attention in the education sector. These include the fragmentation of the curriculum and the teacher-centeredness with too many subjects on the timetable. Fatou Dali Bitey and Khadijatu A. Jobate of the Directorate said the current curriculum is more objective-based through the use of teachers' guides and textbooks, which is not in line with international practices.
And once you transit from grade 9 to grade 10, then these teachers are saying they have problems. They have problems with who? The students that are coming from the local basic. And what are they telling us? They're saying the caliber of students that they receive, they are very weak. Because remember, they don't have the competency of reading or writing.
And in this reform, there are certain things that the Directorate is concerned about. That is our attitudes, our values, where honesty came in.
The new curriculum proposes 3 core subjects: English language, mathematics, and civic education, with an option to choose a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 3 additional subjects based on personality, abilities, interests, and career choices. The current school system has 3 levels: lower, upper, and senior school education. While this paradigm has served the country well, it is believed to be in some ways outdated. The new curriculum proposes a structure which consists of stages, each stage consisting of 3 grades. This, it believes, will align the curriculum to the development stages of children. As teacher training is key to the successful implementation of any given curriculum, every teacher training, therefore, must be anchored in how the curriculum is implemented in the classroom. The Directorate urges the multifaceted participation of all stakeholders in the process for a successful implementation. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Looking forward to its implementation. Now let's take a look at news beyond our borders. The former Electoral Commission boss of Kenya has threatened to take legal action against the opposition leader Raila Odinga after he alleged that the poll team, including the chairman, visited his home during the last year's closely fought election. Jordan Jai has more.
Raila Odinga, Kenya's long-term opposition leader, has been holding series of rallies claiming Wafula Chebukati engineered a fraud that led to him losing his 5th bid for the presidency. Odinga has filed a case with the country's Supreme Court to challenge the results of the 9 August presidential election, in which his opponent, William Ruto, was declared the winner with 50.49% of the votes. Despite the Supreme Court dismissing his election rigging claims, Mr. Odinga recently said he does not recognize President William Ruto as a legitimate leader and called on him to resign. Ruto, who served as the deputy president since 2013, was named president-elect amid protests from 4 of the 7 electoral commissioners who rejected the results, calling them OPEC. On Sunday, Mr. Odinga threatened to release a video showing Mr. Chebukati and his top team visited his home. Mr. Chebukati has denied that the visit took place, saying the claim was false and that it lowers his dignity and injured his reputation. In a letter addressed to Mr. Odinga through Saroni and Stevens advocates, Chebukati has termed the claims made by the opposition leader as false and malicious. Mr. Chebukati's lawyers have also given Mr. Odinga 7 days to prove his claim or they will take legal action. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
Now let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. The National Interdepartmental Sports Association, in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, on Wednesday launched the local organizing committee ahead of the organization of Walker Sports for Africa Championship to be held in the Gambia from the 6th to the 12th March 2023. Lena E. Igwenyiba has more.
At a press conference, NISA and partners briefed the media on the level of preparedness ahead of the Games in Banjul next month. The event will cover a range of sporting activities, including football, volleyball, handball, and walk for health, among others. Sekubi Jaju is the president of NISA.
The right to host such a continental congress and championship was given in Dakar, Senegal, in 2021, where Gambia was contesting against countries like Rwanda and other African countries, but thank God we were able to win the bidding.
The hosting right for the 2023 Games was awarded to the Gambia at the last edition of the Games in Algeria. Walkers from 20 African countries are expected to converge in the Gambia for the event. Bakari Y. Baji, Minister of Youth and Sports, speaks on the numerous benefits the event will bring to the country.
A huge number of people coming from the continent to the Gambia, and each of these individuals are going to be contributing something towards the economy of the country. Because they're going to be staying in hotels, they're going to be using transport, and they're going to be buying materials, and all of that goes towards contributing towards the economy. And that's the benefit that any country that hosts an international event gets. And I'm sure people will ask, how much are you spending in this? But beyond that, we're building our diplomatic relationship with all these other countries that are coming.
Marcel Mendy, Executive Director of the National Sports Council, urges members of the organizing committee to work hard to ensure a successful event.
It is an event that is beyond NISA. It is an event that is beyond the National Sport Council. It is a national event. We want to consider it and therefore want to urge everybody here to give it quality time. We have a big task ahead of us, and we have no doubt whatsoever that those of us identified to serve in the National Organizing Committee have what it takes to help us all achieve what we desire to achieve.
At the end of the event, a gala dinner and an award-giving ceremony will be organized for participants and sponsors. The sports championship should foster greater collaboration and mutual solidarity among African walkers. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Igwenyiba.
From that story by Lena E. Igwenyiba, it seems that is all we have time for. But before we leave, let's recap our main headlines. In the criminal trial at the High Court on the alleged coup plot against the government, all the accused persons have pleaded not guilty to the charges filed against them by the state. Cadet Assistant Superintendent of the Gambia Police Force, Mohamed Y. Dabo, has confirmed to QTV that the arrested alleged thief, Momodumbo, is indeed one of them, but only as a trainee driver. The Gambia, under the auspices of the Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of the Gambia, is hosting the 2023 statutory meetings of the West African Monetary Agency scheduled for the 2nd to the 10th February. In international news, the former Electoral Commission boss of Kenya has threatened to take legal action against the opposition leader Raila Odinga after he alleged that the poll team visited his home during the last year's election. And in sports news, the National Interdepartmental Sports Association, in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, has launched the local organizing committee ahead of the organization of the Sports Walker Sport for Africa Championship in the Gambia next month. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.